The video you're about to watch, I filmed on day 4. Today is day 7, and I have some new information, so I'm going to add it to the end of the video and talk a little bit more about it. So I'm going to tell you what happened on day 3, and before I tell you what happened, I'm going to ask that there be no shaming or hateful remarks or anything like that, because I could just not tell this story, but I think it's important to tell just so other people can learn from it. And certainly wasn't anything that I did on purpose. So I sat down under that cactus tree to get out of the sun and get some rest and relaxation. There was a little bit of wind blowing. It wasn't bad. And I decided that I was going to go ahead and cook my dinner so I could have it cooked when I got to camp. So I put my umbrella to the left of me to block the stove, and my stove was on the right, and I had made good margins for my camp stove, and there was some gravel there, and it was all looking really good. And as it was cooking, the wind, just a huge gust of wind came, and it flew my umbrella from this side over my legs, and the umbrella hit my cook pot, which knocked it off the stove. And when it knocked off the stove, it's a canister stove, and it just rolled to just a little bit of grass. But guess what? That's all it took, was a little bit of grass. And a fire started. And I was trying to stomp it out, and that wasn't happening. And then it just got to be like a rescue mission of getting all my gear out, because I'd sat down to rest. I had everything spread out. My sun hoodie was over. I moved it over to the grass so it could dry. And I had all my cook stuff out. I was charging my phone. I had taken my shoes off and had on my camp shoes. I mean, I was really like ready to sit there and relax. And then this happened, and it totally I just couldn't believe how fast it caught me off guard, and I could not believe how fast the fire spread. So I was just trying to get all of my gear out of there as much as possible. And even sometimes I was just like throwing it, and then I would look over and the fire had already moved to it again. So my backpack caught on fire, and it was just happened so quick. And I was trying to find the stove and to try to get it to shut it off. And I realized that the stove was too hot for me to touch, and I kicked it to try to get it back to the area that was already burning. And when I did, the whole thing just exploded. Once I got everything, I was in a safe spot and my things were in a safe spot. I called 911, and they called, and I used my GPS and gave them the coordinates. I was really having a hard time processing that. And I'm like, do I need to stay here? And they're like, no, you just keep going, and don't worry about that. We'll have somebody out there. Well, this morning, as I was coming in, I ran into a hiker that I'd met a couple days ago, and I asked her, I said, hey, did you see a fire or come across a fire? She goes, oh yeah, we were at that water trough, and the fire truck pulled up, and said, the fire department pulled up and said, is there a fire somewhere? Somebody said there was a fire around here. And she goes, I just pointed over across the field, said, well, there's some smoke over there. There might be a fire over there. And so she said they got it contained super, super fast. And that was such a huge relief to me, because I try to be a really good steward of the trail. And it just really messed with my mind that I caused some damage to it, because that's not what I want to do. And it was on private property. It was someone's cattle ranch. Luckily, there was no cattle in that area. They were off in another field. But it was really, really just messed with my head about doing damage to the trail. Didn't feel good about that at all. However, I said, because I'd gone so far off trail, I asked, did the fire make it to the trail? And she said, no, it didn't actually make it to the trail. And I was really relieved that they got it contained quickly. So having said all of that, I would just like to caution everyone that if you're going to have a camp stove, I mean, I have hiked over 6,000 miles. I've never had anything like this happen to me. And just, I'll never cook again when there's even a little wind in any shred of grass around. It was just a lot. So I hope someone like learns from my lesson there. But it also left me with a big gear issue, and well, not too big. I think I got it all sorted out. My backpack, just the outside pocket got caught on fire, and so I was able to patch that up with duct tape. My sun hoodie got totally burned, like on the stomach and the back areas of the hoodie. So what I've decided to do is I just cut it off and I will, because the hood is still, and the sleeves are still pretty much intact, and I'll put it on, and then I'll just put my tank top that I have on now, like over the top of it, and get by with that. I'm going to cold soak the rest of the trail. I don't have a stove. I'm not going to order one and send it ahead. It's like I'm done with cooking for this desert portion, and so I'm going to cold soak, and got everything ready for that today. I lost my sit pad, which I use a lot. As a matter of fact, I made a video about how much I use my sit pad, and one of the things that I've had to use it for a lot is I wear it on the back of my hip belt as a cushion, as more padding, because I get really bad blisters that'll come up on my pelvic bones in the back if I don't have a super padded belt. So I actually got one of those bubble wrapped envelopes, those priority envelopes. That will become my sit pad. That was free at the post office, so compensated with that. And I have 3 socks of the 4 that I had left, and I'll just have to rotate those 3 socks. And I'm trying to think what else I had to do. Let me look around. Oh, I lost 2 of my water bottles, so I had to replace those. And I also lost my little ditty bag that all my cookware was in, and the ditty bag that my pea style was in. So I've substituted that with a Ziploc. I'm sending my cookware back home because I won't be using it. And it was really tough. The things that did get lost, completely lost, were one of my phone chargers got completely burned up, and also the charger to my Fitbit. I lost that as well in it, but was able to pack everything out. Well, the sit pad I didn't pack out because I couldn't even find it. I saw it on fire at one point, and then I went to go back to see if I could find the debris, and I couldn't even find it. So what I'm going to do next after this talking is I'm going to show you pics of what the gear looked like, and I have a short video of the fire too, so you get an idea. It was super, super low grass, so it wasn't like huge flames. It just kept burning, and very, very few flames, but it was burning. So I'm gonna show those to you. And oh, I lost my washcloth also, but when I cut my shirt, the tail end of my shirt off, I cut a piece for a new washcloth. So I think I'm set there as well. I tell you, it was tough. It was tough. But I think I've figured things out moving forward, and just don't want to start any fires, that's for sure. And there was one more thing I thought of, and I'll show you in the pics that I share with you, is one of my trekking poles did get pretty damaged, the handle of it. And me touching all of that stuff, trying to get it out of there, I got blisters on my hands until I realized that I needed something, and I used the sock that I no longer have because it's burned to help me move stuff, but ended up with a pretty significant blister on my thumb in handling all this stuff. So. got here to Silver City, I went on the Facebook page for the Continental Divide Trail. I was looking for some information on trail days that is here, and what I did find was a post about the brush fire, and it said that the fire had been contained and was all mopped up, and that the land that was burned was BML land and state land, and the size of the fire actually ended up being almost 7 acres, which really blew me away because I wasn't expecting it to be that much land. It just broke my heart again. And like I said, I don't like to damage things, especially things in nature. And I'm just so thankful for the fire department and responding so quickly and getting it under control, and just really, really thankful for them and the work that they do. And I just appreciate them now, I think, more than I ever have in the past, because I realize what a great service that they provide, and it often goes overlooked and under-recognized. So just a big thank you to them. The next few pictures that you'll see are from that post that they made 3 days ago.